He went from being an underground internet sensation to a global mixed martial arts icon. Kimbo Slice, a name that echoes through the history of combat sports, built a legacy from the streets, but the journey was anything but easy. From viral fame to triumphs in the cage and struggles that tested his limits, Kimbo Slice lived a life full of highs and lows. But who was Kimbo Slice really? And how did this Bahamian-born fighter make an everlasting impact on the MMA world? Born Kevin Ferguson on February 8, 1974, in Nassau, the Bahamas, Kimbo Slice would become one of the most intriguing and unconventional fighters in MMA history. Raised in Miami, Florida, Kimbo's early years were marked by challenges and hardship, growing up in the rough neighborhoods of the city. His family's struggles, weight of poverty, and violence set the stage for the tough, resilient fighter he would eventually become. As a teenager, Kimbo had an interest in athletics, participating in sports like football and wrestling. However, it wasn't until he was in his 30s that he became a viral sensation on the internet, an accidental and powerful career catalyst. Kimbo's early notoriety came from a series of street fights, which were recorded and uploaded onto the internet. These videos, which showcased his brutal knockout power, quickly went viral, attracting millions of views. His imposing physique, powerful punches, and fearsome persona turned him into an underground legend. Kimbo's rise to fame was anything but conventional. His street fights were raw, unpolished, but real, and people couldn't get enough of it. These fights were often brutal, showcasing Kimbo's raw street fighting skills honed through years of rough neighborhood life. But when the online world caught wind of this ferocious brawler, it wasn't long before the spotlight shifted from the streets to the professional ring. In 2004, after becoming an internet sensation, Kimbo's reputation spread beyond the streets. He was signed to fight professionally, and soon he entered the world of mixed martial arts, making his pro debut on the undercard of a cage fighting event. This was where Kimbo's true challenge began, not only as a fighter, but also as a man trying to prove himself beyond the persona built on viral videos. Kimbo's professional career took off quickly. His early success in the MMA world came with victories over opponents who were considered less skilled. Kimbo's knockout power was undeniable. He earned respect for his ability to finish fights quickly with his fists. His first professional victory came in 2007 against Bo Cantrell, a fight that ended with Kimbo delivering a first-round knockout. His most significant breakthrough came when he was signed by the Elite XC organization in 2008. The promotion was looking to cash in on Kimbo's viral fame, and he quickly became their biggest draw. His fight against James Thompson in May 2008, a highly anticipated match, earned him a victory in front of a live TV audience, cementing Kimbo's status as a major MMA attraction. But his next fight, against the legendary Ken Shamrock, would set him up for even bigger challenges, both inside and outside the cage. But for every high, there were lows. Despite his early success, Kimbo faced the stark realities of MMA. In his bout against Roy Nelson in 2010 at the Ultimate Fighter (TUF) competition, Kimbo suffered a significant setback. The fight exposed holes in his game, with Kimbo getting outclassed by Nelson's grappling and experience. Kimbo was eliminated from TUF, and many began to question whether he truly had what it took to be a top-tier MMA fighter. Although Kimbo remained a fan favorite, his career was often marked by inconsistency. While he had knockout power, his overall skills and ability to adapt to different fighting styles left him vulnerable. His inability to deal with seasoned grapplers and his lack of advanced ground game became his Achilles heel. This led to a tough professional setback in 2010 when he was knocked out by Matt Mitrione in his UFC debut. This loss, which many viewed as a failure to live up to the hype, was a harsh reality check for Kimbo and his fans. It was a turning point where people began to realize that viral fame doesn't necessarily translate to long-term success in professional MMA. Despite his setbacks, Kimbo Slice remained an iconic figure in the MMA world. His name alone still attracted huge crowds and media attention, and he continued to carve out a niche for himself. One of his most notable victories came in 2015, when Kimbo faced off against Dada, 5,000 in the Bellator MMA promotion. The fight was more than just a bout. It was a spectacle that showcased Kimbo's unyielding determination to stay relevant in the combat sports world. Though the fight was marred by controversy, with both fighters exhausted and showing signs of serious fatigue, Kimbo managed to secure the victory with a knockout. But it wasn't just about the win. It was a statement that Kimbo Slice still had the heart and drive to fight. It became one of the most memorable moments in Bellator history, as Kimbo's heart never seemed to give up, even in the face of intense physical hardship. As his fighting career progressed, Kimbo Slice faced increasing health problems. His struggles in the cage were matched by struggles outside of it. In 2016, just as Kimbo appeared to be moving past his setbacks, tragedy struck. On June 6, 2016, Kimbo Slice passed away at the age of 42 from heart failure, following complications from a recent fight. The news shocked the world, and MMA fans mourned the loss of a fighter who had brought excitement and authenticity to the sport. His sudden death brought to light the toll that years of intense training, combat, and health problems can take on an athlete. Kimbo's legacy is bittersweet, as his story was one of overcoming adversity, but it was also a reminder of how fleeting the career of a fighter can be. Kimbo Slice's legacy transcends his wins and losses inside the cage. While he was never a champion in the traditional sense, his cultural impact on MMA is undeniable. He was the first fighter to prove that street fighting could transition into professional mixed martial arts. His rise from viral fame to becoming a legitimate fighter was revolutionary, inspiring many to take the sport seriously. Kimbo Slice was also a trailblazer for fighters coming from non-traditional backgrounds. His story opened doors for others from tough, underprivileged environments, showing that anyone could fight their way to the top, no matter their past. He was the bridge between the raw, gritty world of street fighting and the polished world of professional MMA. His life wasn't just about wins or losses. It was about resilience, raw power, and the heart of a fighter who didn't care about the odds, only about proving himself. Kimbo Slice will always be remembered not just for what he did in the cage, but for what he represented: the everyday man who was given a shot to prove himself on the biggest stage. Kimbo Slice's story is more than just a tale of a fighter. It's a reminder that greatness doesn't always come from the traditional paths, and that sometimes it's the most unlikely heroes who leave the most lasting marks on the world. Kimbo may have left us too soon, but his impact on the world of MMA and on those who admired him will never be forgotten. The streets of Miami may no longer echo with his punches, but Kimbo Slice's legacy lives on. Rest in peace, Kimbo.